Tom's easier.
Tom is in
Anyway.
sharp.
This is gonna put everybody on the spot as far as all the panel members, but if it was in your power, what would be the first phase of getting this thing going? Is it putting the bike trail in? Is it putting a street through there so that people know the ground and all the accessibility to the waterfront, to the river? If everybody could just say what would be the first step that they would do to get this project underway, besides everything that's been said so far.
Well, I think there are probably 6 or 7 or 8 or even 10 different things about this project that are special, and within each of those categories, you could probably start, do something right away. There are a lot of things that cost a lot of money, a lot of things that take a lot of coordination. There's some things that don't take a lot of money and you can do very quickly. And one of the things that we really want to do with this project is to revalue and increase the value of the areas around it. And so, I met with this young landscape installer and his crew today. They're ready to plant, raised beds and orchards and berries along that transmission line. They're ready to actually take a metal building that's really cool, it has a shed porch, and actually create a little, garden center there, or a growers, central. And what happens there is that you start growing the development from a grassroots point of view. So things like that are very doable and they're very evident, and that influences the kind of restaurant you have, because you have fresh food that's basically from, within a wheelbarrow's distance away, and as opposed to, say, another Panera. This will be something that will be very special. So it really affects the kind of curating the community and the artists coming involved. So you can get going, doing things very quickly. Not to say, don't start spending money there.
Just to build on that, I did talk about public access, and it's a funny thing when people kick the dirt, skip the stones across the water, and watch a phenomenal migratory pattern at some special moment, or just go for a walk with your child or grandson and fish. The land becomes pretty special. So I think that all of these public improvements that have started, get them done. And I mentioned 22 million that you're avoiding. Well, 17 of that was public funding. So there's the transient dockage. Whether you go after that money or another community, you don't have to do any bonds, you don't have to borrow anything. There are certain matches, whether it's coastal management, waterways, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, boating infrastructure grants, there are match requirements. So you have to do that. I guess the other thing that I would start tomorrow, to be quite honest, because it doesn't cost anything to sit down and keep this dialogue going. All the property owners, make those pizza wedges of parking lots go away. Make it productive real estate. Make the path to that trestle more special so somebody wants to live north of the river. So those things don't cost anything, but they make everything else happen. It's the best investment you can make.
I think building on that, I think, seeking the funds, anything you can do to get folks out there and falling in love with it, like I think we all have, and I think folks about the process. So if we can seek the grants, I go back to the transit arena. Seek the grants to touch the water, put in the infrastructure that supports that, and get the land and get this land to the point where somebody can actually buy it there. So if you bundle that, I think it probably would be the marina access point, and then maybe the fill on the floodplain, so you can actually get this thing to the point where you can build little paths, maybe working your way up from and across, so you can at least get some people visiting and at some point living as soon as possible.
I think we have to think like a developer. I think we have to put in the amenity, as been said here, make that site accessible to the public, take that wetland that's been filled in with concrete for 25 years by cement trucks every day. The restoration plan that Steve came up with here is to restore wetland, dig a pond, get the public out there, put in the trails. What a lot of developers do is, you know, they put in that amenity, as Ed said, get a road in there so people can actually get to the other end of the property. Those are things I think, getting the public out there, working on that green infrastructure right away, and you know, getting some excitement about the site. As I mentioned, you know, if we work on some grants, get a transient dock out there, and then if we can't recruit a restaurant, then let's, you know, do these pop-up events. Let's just make it happen.
Larry? Do you think you can make this attractive enough that developers will actually pay something for the land and not need a 10% kickback to put up buildings?
That would be our hope.
Okay, wonderful. That's what I like to see going forward.
Larry said what I was going to say, except these are wonderful opportunities with properties like this to pull the community together, and participatory conservation and restoration and demonstrations of ways to begin healing a scarred piece of property really do tend to ground people and you know, really help revitalize and energize the community's commitment to this property. The Fresh Kills landfill in New York, Staten Island, we proposed a plan to plant sunflowers on the face of a landfill. There were big fences in the way, and nobody really viewed the landfill with any sort of passion. It was a dump that you drove through on a highway. And by planting with bands of sunflowers across the face of these landfills, all of a sudden people started taking note, looking at that for the first time, and realizing that it was something of beauty, and wanted to get inside that damn fence, and wanted to start working with that land. So the opportunity here is to take this field area, in my opinion, and tap into philanthropic and church group and Boy Scouts and Rotary Club, garden lovers in general in the area, and people that love this place, and start bringing La Crosse's version of a loving gesture of repair and healing to this landscape, and allow that to help inform and grow, and that's just remarkable when that happens. Developers and philanthropic groups and all sorts of local people, investors, come out of the woodwork when they see that sort of care and attention and love. And you also set up a process where you, I'll call it a shit filter, excuse my French. You set up a process that...
We learned a lot of French during this process.
You learned the word ecotone, and I learned some, I don't remember the words. But what you have to do also is figure out, develop the sensitivities to know when you're making the right decisions with developers, the right partners, and that's really critical on a piece of property like this. You know, if the economy turns south again and the city's stressed and you're in the middle of some sort of play on this piece of property, sometimes bad decisions are made. And by having that committed group of inculcated and passionate people engaged with the property, it's an additional shit filter, so to speak, excuse my Latin, that makes sure you stay on track as a community. It's another level of insurance, so. Excuse my long monologue.
So for me, it would be about building on what Tom and others have started to talk about, which is also this process. We did a lot of meetings with a lot of folks, and the ones that I really enjoyed were when we got the artists together. And some of them have already been out there leaving little gestures to let us know that they're here and they're ready to play. And this notion of not just planting sunflowers, but let's have a great concert out there. You have an incredible source of musical talent and other artistic and performing and visual art talent in this community. So I'd say also one of the first gestures would be to start tapping in and engaging your arts